What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from Unsleeved Media with a topic that comes up every now and again, and that is, of course, altars, particularly spicy altars. Now, I have been on the record as saying I don't like any altars. I don't like any alteration to any card. I don't like signatures on the cards. That's just my opinion. If you have a Richard Garfield signed Black Lotus, I don't even want it. Well, I'll take it for free, but it's damaged, in my opinion. Now, I know a lot of people out there, however, do really appreciate altars. And this isn't just something unique to the Magic the Gathering community. This is across many card games, and I assume other board games and collectible items as well. Over the weekend at the latest Grand Prix event, which is a very large tournament for Magic the Gathering, some Magic the Gathering judges had their delicate sensibilities offended by some nude altars that were for sale at a vendor. Not in play, but for sale from a vendor. And before I get into this article, which is hilarious because it's puritanical and pearl clutching levels are over 9,000, I will have to put out there that I, in fact, agree that spicy adult-themed altars should not be played in sanctioned tournaments. Why is that? Well, because you might be playing against an 8-year-old. You might be playing against a female who gets uncomfortable. I'm actually totally okay with this. Now, in the side events where you're playing with your friends or playing, with people you know or people who are cool with it, or maybe it's an entire altar game, people who get into altars want to show off their altars, I totally believe that you should be able to. If you're playing with people who are adults or you're playing with people who are into altars, why stifle that art? In the actual main events, I'm fine banning them. It's practical. It's not ridiculous. But this is a Magic the Gathering judge's take on altars, the crude, the bad, and the ugly. You can always tell someone's a nerd when they refer to themselves as a nerd or they talk to other people as nerds. This is definitely not a sign of a fake gamer girl, but, that's just me. It's time to get real about the altars for a moment. By the way, this is coming from a tweet that was worded interestingly. After a bit of community fallout, nobody cared, by the way, over the weekend following some unsavory altars at MTG Prague, here's a few words on why nudes alter particularly of females. Now, so she doesn't have a problem with the nude part, just that it's female. Okay, all right. Well, let's hear why they're not a good thing. And just to, in full disclosure, she is a Magic the Gathering judge who lists her pronouns in her profile. Just saying. And again, don't contact this person. This is a discussion for us to have here. Okay? The following Liliana altars were spotted at a vendor at Magic Prague. So these were for sale, by the way. They weren't in play, and they aren't, I wouldn't say they're prominently featured. Nonetheless, I found some similar sleazy altars at an entirely different vendor in Liverpool late last year. Gasp! But were removed from sale after being flagged to channel Fireball. So PSA, if you come across anything at an event, tag them and Twitter or grab a judge and tattle on them. After they were posted to a Facebook discussion group, the comments had me rolling my eyes so far back into my head I could see my own spine. You don't have a spine. Here is a brief guide into why now it's gratuitous NSFW altars should never, ever be for sale or played in a tournament setting. These are not gratuitous. I'm sorry, this is somebody who's mostly clothed except apparently topless. That's not gratuitous. It's not even, it's barely R-rated. It's not even TVMA, okay? So let's chill on the pearl clutching lady. It's just bibs. What's the big deal? You're stripping everything away from a character apart from her body. It's sexualization. Even if you don't look at it, immediately feel a response. They're drawn that way deliberately. Oh, you know how they're drawn. You know the artist. You know what their intent was. Well, that's interesting. There's no other reason to draw a character in exactly the same pose or scenario, minus clothes. That's right. You are the aficionado on art. Anything that is ever drawn or has ever drawn should go through your filter. Yeah, they're bibs. So big deal. We've all seen them. But if you're making that argument, you've likely never experienced objectification. Anyway, it happens all the time. Remember the notorious draft card that people in a Facebook group drafting female Magic players and personalities based on who they'd most like to bang? Yeah, I do remember that. And there's nothing wrong with it, by the way. And I've seen people argue that, well, it's okay to have topless men in society, but not topless women. Yeah, you have to decide. Look, social media Puritans, or social justice Puritans, sorry. You have to decide, are we freeing the nipple or not? I thought being topless was like a empowerment thing. Now it's objectification. Which is it? Are you empowered or are you being objectified? And also, how do you know what maybe somebody's just into that type of art? I'm not, but who am I to judge somebody else? Well, it's an entirely separate and legit issue. But let's not pretend that's why they do this. Oh, again, she knows, right? You're censoring art. See above. It's not art. Oh, okay. All right, my bad. Everyone listen to Kirsty. She is the one and only judgment and arbiter of what's art and what isn't art. You can draw photograph nudes and do it tastefully. Whacking a pair of bibs on top of previously clothed character isn't art. Who says? This is one of the worst takes ever. And by the way, I didn't read this article. I thought it was going to be better written. And this was an article that was endorsed by Tolarian Community College, saying it was well written and very important issue, coming from a former professor. Interesting. This is not well written. It is not backed by facts. It is not backed by research. It is absolutely an opinion piece masquerading as its irrefutable factual evidence. There's nothing arty about it, whether it's well drawn or not. There's severe voyeuristic purpose. Oh my God. No. I 100% disagree, and this is coming from somebody who agrees that they shouldn't be in the main tournament area. If you don't like it, you don't have to look at it or buy it. True, I could shut the folder, walk away, and never... This is a perfect example, okay? This Magic judge, who, by the way, these are the same people that hid pedophiles amongst them. Just saying. I don't know if Kirsty did, but this is a group that we had to drag kicking and screaming to run background checks on their own people. Always remember that they did not do this willingly, that we as a community had to force them to do it by getting the story on national TV. All right? So pardon me if I don't really want to listen to what this person has to say about what's good or right. It's also interesting that there seems to be this trend with the pearl clutching group of people that they're always going out of their way to find something to be offended. The whole reason that original draft card of female Magic personalities ever got public is because another SJW went into a private meme Facebook group, a Facebook group that was entirely dedicated to being offensive, and then mined things to be offended about. This is Emma Handy. This actually happened. In my opinion, this person is a garbage community member. Might be a fine person, but if you go into a group dedicated to offensive things and then act like you're offended, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. And it's the exact same garbage that's happening with in this particular case. So in this case, you're admitting that you had to go scouring for things to be offended by. All right. Again, I don't feel bad for you then. Had they have invaded and had they be out all over every table, had people have like walked up to you, showed it to you, you might have had a case. But you are admitting that you're basically seeking things out to be offended by. Who cares? I care. Okay, well, so we should all care then. All right. So do a whole bunch of other people not listed here. I don't want Magic to have a reputation for being full of creeps. Well, maybe you should run background checks on your own judges, and that won't be a problem. I don't want women to feel like if they go to an event, they're going to have to put up with harassment or people acting like looking at them like they're objects. Oh my God. Oh my God. This thread is absolutely hilarious. I used to make a lot of alters, but I had some people become very upset and offended why I would make nudes for them, why I wouldn't make nudes for them. Again, not for me, maybe not for you. However, not for somebody else to say whether or not something is good or to ascribe your intent. That's what Kirsty here is doing. She's saying if you're into this type of thing, it's purely for voyeuristic purposes, not because you enjoy the art or maybe you just like to collect those things, something that's entirely legal and is an absolutely a form of art and not just for pervs, as she puts it. Notice she goes out of her way to say, well, it's not a problem if men are shirtless. Just another group of people that will now feel unwelcome at Grand Prix. People that went to Grand Prix specifically to purchase these from vendors, and I guarantee you there are some, will now feel unwelcome and exiled from the community. Wonder why that Grand Prix attendance continues to fall. Great job moral policing your customers again, Wizards. Keep it up.